Alrighty. Cool. Hey guys, it's Ray, and we are streaming Blacksmithing. Today we have changed our name, so we are no longer Reagan R. We are Ray's Smithy. So hopefully you guys will be able to find me. I've posted in my event or in my stream caption who I was and also what we're doing. So yeah, today we will be streaming more Corkscrews. So on Monday, we came on here and we started learning or teaching ourselves how to make corkscrews. And so what we made was this guy right here. And when I was assessing the corkscrew that we made, it looks like it's a little bit on the thick side. So I think, and it's definitely too thick on the back side. I think that we're going to taper it down so it is skinnier. It has a better point, and the taper is longer because we definitely want to get 6 curls instead of just the 4 that we've got here. So I am out of this stock. So we are going to use the stock that we have, which is 1/4 inch square stock. So this is going to take a little bit more effort to draw down. So I've got my 3-pound hammer that we're going to use today. And we are going to try it again, and we'll see if we can make a better looking corkscrew. Welcome in, everyone. Hello. I'm glad that you found us. And yeah, we're gonna get started. So it's a little on the colder side today, not too bad. So I'm probably gonna lose the jacket pretty quickly, but before I turn on the forge, it's a little bit on the cold side. So let's get the heat going. Turn on this forge. Welcome in, and Happy New Year to everybody. New year, new me. So I've got a new name, and we're gonna see what we can do together this year. I'm very excited to continue streaming Blacksmithing with you guys and having lots of conversations and lots of fun. So we'll stick our material inside the forge. I'm gonna grab some tongs so that we can arrange our bricks a little bit better. They're still a little low on the cold side, so I can still touch them with the gloves on. There we go. But yeah. Put those back. We're not gonna use them probably. So how is everybody's New Year's? I'm excited to hear from you guys. I wish I had half your excitement. Yeah, we don't really do a lot of celebrating for New Year's. Like the night before, we kind of, celebrate a little bit on the day of and a little bit during the day on New Year's Eve. But we don't really do a lot of staying up late or drinking or anything like that. So I'm not hungover. I'm fresh and I'm ready to go. I'm a little bit on the tired side because there was a lot of people doing fireworks and stuff outside my house. And my dog is really scared of them. So I had to, comfort her a bit so that she didn't get too scared. So I got set up a new Wi-Fi extender. So we've got a lot more bandwidth that's going out. I can actually watch my stream and see how it's looking on both the monitor screen and on my phone where I stream from. So that's really exciting. Hopefully we'll be able to get a second camera in here. That would make me really happy. Just throw away the old calendar and hang the new one, just a different number. I mean, in a way, it kind of is like that. I mean, we don't really like, I don't know. It's another year older, but you know, life still goes on a bit. So we do have some more, you know, New Year's resolutions and stuff like that. But you know, most of those are like continue streaming and, you know, reach 50 followers and stuff like that. So it's exciting to, you know, start the stream for the new year. So those are, you know, my stream goals, or most of my goals for this year too. I'd like to, you know, get my YouTube up and running, more social media out there, set up my Facebook so it's a little bit easier for you guys to find, and post my socials on the channel. But yeah, those are the kind of things that I have as my New Year's resolution. How about you guys? Hands are a little bit cold because it's kind of cold in here. All right. We've got a little bit of heat going in our initial first heat. So I'm going to bring you over to the anvil, and we're going to start that tapering out that point. First things first. Did you notice that at least in the English calendar, this year starts with a warning? Does it? 2020 or 2025? 2025. Well, I mean, I guess 1/1/2025. It's because, like, in the U.S. we have the month first and then the day first, and the rest of the world flips it. So I think it's the same both sides. First 3 days are Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Well, that's true. I mean, it's hump day today, so. But we do get a really early weekend this year, so that's good. Focus on. Oh, WTF. Oh, okay, I get it now. I'm a little slow sometimes. It's this cold. I promise it's the cold. We'll get better. Whoops. All right, so like I said, I'm going to start a little bit slow with the new Wi-Fi, just kind of testing it out a little bit. So we're going to keep with one camera today. And then Friday, we are going to... We're going to see about setting up our second camera and see how that works. So we've got a nice warm heat going on there. We are going to crush that down into a nice point by hammering on all four sides. Glancing blows at the edge of the anvil, creating a pyramid. My hands are still a little bit cold, so I'm a little bit slow. Slower than I want to be. Less dexterous. Ah. There we go. Let's get going. We're going to get warmer, and it's going to all work out. There we go. Much better. Lost a little bit of extra heat, but that first heat is always a little bit iffy. Let's move that forward a little bit. WTF. Hopefully that's not, you know, an omen for the rest of the year. I'm sure there are some crazy things that'll happen, but I am hoping that, you know, there's a lot of peace and, you know, a lot of a lot of good times too. Because, you know, Lord knows this world needs a little bit of calm. So, alrighty. So hopefully it's a little bit, or it's still relatively easy to find the stream. If you, or you know, you guys can let me know if it's difficult, and I'll need to like post my previous name for, you know, longer periods of time. I think that having the same icon for like my picture icon will help a little bit. But I do intend on switching that out so that it is I think I'm gonna do my maker's mark on that. So I'll have to redesign that so that it works for the overall, you know, look I'm going for. Starting to warm up in here, so that's good. I'm not sure what actually the temperature is today. It's probably, I don't know, 40s, 50s maybe. Let me make my microphone work a little better there. A little bit of scuff this morning, but you know, we work through it. A wide view this time. So what we're doing is we are balancing blows on the edge of the anvil on all four corners. We want to point out the end of this piece because we need a really nice sharp point to go into the cork for our corkscrew. Hammering all four corners to make that even and centralized. So we've got a nice good point going there. I'd like to sharpen it up a little bit, but I think I'm going to do that on the grinder after we're done. But we've got a nice shallow angle on there, and I'm pretty happy with it. So we've got that nice pencil shape on the point. Over here, my hands are kind of cold, so warm them up a little bit so I got a little bit more dexterous movement in my fingers. Let's see. Like everything is going pretty well. Checking on the stream stats and the like how my Wi-Fi is going. I've got a full set of bars, so that's really exciting. Hopefully you guys don't see any like frame drops or anything like that. That would make me very, very happy. Like I said, I want to add another camera, but the Wi-Fi was so weak before we put the booster on that the second camera was really, really laggy, and I couldn't see myself on the live view from my computer. So it was really weird. I was able to see you guys' comments, but I couldn't really tell that I was live because I couldn't stream both in and out at the same time over here. So it's absolutely gorgeous now that I've got the ability to see actively what I'm doing and then always see what you guys are up to. So far, it's looking good, and the audio sounds good too for now. Excellent. I'm really happy about that. So yeah, we've got these like 3 little boxes that we hooked up to our main router, and then so we can kind of like piggyback the Wi-Fi signal on the little boxes. So they're like these little square things. They're about yay big, and then like this thick or something like that. And they just kind of boost the Wi-Fi, so it's all over the place. It's been working really well for the TV. We've had some issues with some of our TVs because our router is in the office, but our TV is in the opposite side of the house, and we've got a big long ranch, so the distance is really far. So it's been working really well for that application, and it seems like it's doing pretty well for this one as well. That was my Christmas present this year. So very exciting. And yeah, I'd like to put as much improvement into the stream as I possibly can. All right, so let's bring you to a detailed shot of the anvil, and we're going to continue with the drawdown. If you guys have any questions, generalized or otherwise, let me know, and I will answer them when I am not actively hammering. Know lots of stuff. All right, so what we're going to do is we are going to hammer out to thin out the material. The material is a lot thicker than the one that we were using on Monday. So we hammer on all four sides to keep them all nice and even, getting rid of all of the the weird divots and keeping everything nice and flat. The hammer will crush the material and create that force that we need to move the metal, and the anvil face flattens it out so that it's nice and pretty. And our material is already nice and square, so we don't have to round out, or we don't have to flatten out the round like we did on Monday. So that's always really nice. We can already start working on the drawing out of the material. So that's really nice. We want to wait until the material is good and hot, because the hotter it is, the faster it's going to move on us. And that is exactly what we want to see. I may end up changing hammers, because right now I have the 3-pound hammer out, but it's like it's kind of heavier, and I'm still working on getting the stamina back up to be able to use that for long periods of time. I have been using my 2-pound hammer on the stream because it's a lot easier on my arm. It takes a lot less effort, and it's got a little bit more bounce than this particular hammer. So it takes less effort for me to pick it up and continue using it. So I may end up changing that. We'll see how much less material moves when I change hammers. Always set up the hammer on the anvil so it's real nice and ready to be picked up. Still a little bit on the cold side. I've got my nose is a little runny, so we'll have to deal with that. Hopefully it'll, I'll be fine for the next 2 hours while I'm streaming, because I don't know that you guys want to hear me sniffling every 3 seconds. So. Cleaning off all of the scale off of the anvil so it doesn't jump up and hit me. Get yourself a handkerchief. Yeah, I should do that. let me do that. Got a couple napkins and stuff. I'm gonna mute myself and just. All right, let's bring back that sound. That way you guys don't have to, you know, listen to me blow in my nose, but I get to blow it, so. I've got a couple, you know, rolls of paper towels and stuff like that I can like take care of things like that in the shop, so it's pretty easy. All right. We're gonna try to use the 2-pound hammer now. It should go pretty easier, or it should go easier, but I'm not sure if it'll move as much metal as fast as I want it to, so we'll try this. I am still kind of learning about how to make this corkscrew, so I'm bringing you with me. Yeah, that's a little nicer. It's a lot easier on my arm. So we've got a little bit more movement in here. We're definitely nowhere near as thin as we want to go. We probably want about 1/4 of this material to, or the width of this material, we probably only want about 1/4 of it. The problem with that is that the skinnier it gets, the easier it will be to break and get really floppy inside of the forge. And then when it cools down along the anvil, it starts to like crack. And we don't want to see that. So we're being a little bit more careful than we probably could be. So we're gonna keep on going. It'll take several more heats to get that nice and drawn down to the size that we want. Greetings, welcome in. Hello, hello. How are we all doing today on this fine New Year's Day? Watch the hammer. Yeah, I kind of moved it around a little bit, but keeping it on the anvil so that I, like along the horn like I do, is like kind of so that if I, you know, I have less chance of knocking it off. I almost dropped the hammer, yeah. I did almost drop it. I kind of like, when I moved the camera, I kind of came around this way and I knocked it a little bit. And I do knock it on the floor occasionally. It's usually pretty good. The floor's not like too hard or anything. It doesn't like mar the hammer. It kind of mars the floor, but you know, I don't mind that. So yeah, hopefully you guys have had, you know, a really great New Year's Eve and, you know, had some fun, watched some fireworks, you know, drank some alcohol or, you know, whatever it is that you do, champagne, you know, all that sort of thing. Had some, or like, you know, came up with some resolutions. Like I said, mine are, you know, continuing the stream and improving it as the year goes by. I definitely have sky high plans for stuff that I want to do with you guys. I want to do lots of different projects and build them up so that they're, you know, larger scale projects eventually, more like furniture and stuff. Like to continue doing the small scale stuff for the moment, but yeah, we're gonna build our way up to the bigger stuff. I don't do resolutions, never worked out for me. Yeah, I don't normally do resolutions, unless they're things that I was already planning on doing. So, like, a lot of times my New Year's resolution is to continue doing something that I've already started to do, or, you know, because I mean, I feel like when you know, you come up with the resolution and then in like 2 months you just like end up stopping it. Like, if you go on a diet or like, you know, exercise, like the gyms, you know, like Gold's Gym and stuff like that, when you get their discounted memberships at the beginning of the year, it's all like, it's kind of, you know, a little bit insidious. They kind of prey on people like that. They're like, you know, we'll charge you really, really cheap memberships and stuff like that. And by, you know, March, they're raising your prices and you've already forgotten that you have a gym membership. So, and they make it really hard to cancel your gym membership for whatever reason. So they like to make money that way. And I think that's kind of insidious. But yeah, I try not to have, you know, too difficult of resolutions, just mostly things that I'm already doing or, you know, that I know that I can do. I've got a lot of extra water here today because it's kind of, I don't know, my throat's been really dry. I've been a little bit under the weather lately. So I'm trying to, like, you know, keep my throat lubricated so I can talk to you guys without coughing. We are continuing to draw down the material for this corkscrew. Yeah, we're getting a lot more movement out of this 2-pound hammer. I'm pretty happy. I think I'll be fine and keep with this one. All 4 sides. We're starting to see a really good amount of movement in the material. But we've got several more heats to go because I'd like to continue about this width right here and bring that all the way back down here. And as we go, we're going to lengthen out that whole piece, and we are going, or our corkscrew is going to grow because we're going to lose. It looks like we're going to lose at least triple the length by rolling, or by scrolling that. The corkscrew part, or like the screw part of the corkscrew. So we're gonna keep on keeping on. Blacksmithing is all about patience. Huh, that's weird. I have a drop offline. Am I offline? Am I back up? I'm hoping I'm back up. Yeah. Yeah, rest is going to be a really good idea. But there we go. Yeah, I had some weird tech issues. I'm not entirely sure why it dropped out that way. Welcome back, guys. Thank you for coming back. I'm so sorry about that drop. Like I said, the Wi-Fi's a bit new. I'm not entirely sure why it dropped. It looked almost like my phone kind of like decided, or it was having trouble deciding whether it was on Wi-Fi or if it was on the, you know, the connection for the network. So, like my cell phone network. Yeah, I refreshed my stream. It looks like I'm back on the laptop, and it looks like I'm still live on my phone. So, yeah, looks like we're good now. If I'm not, let me know, please. Cool. All right, what am I up to? Continuing. Wi-Fi seems to be good on the phone. Okay. Ah. All right. Struggling with this. I guess we're learning. Maybe we need to, maybe it'll stabilize. It was working really well earlier, last night and today. But we also have like a couple times in the neighborhood where like the internet will blink out sometimes. It used to be like, so there was a lady down the street that had this really, really big old school, like early 90s big screen TVs. They're like yay big. And she had cable for it. And every time she'd like turn it on or change like a major channel, it would blink out the entire neighborhood's Wi-Fi for like 30 seconds, and it would take like a whole minute to reboot. They have given us more bandwidth, so hopefully that helped, but yeah. Awesome. It does not like to be moved. That might also be it. I wonder if there's more bandwidth on this side and then less bandwidth over here. I wonder if that is the case, because in theory I am moving it from the wide over to the close angle. I am moving it farther away from the booster, so I wonder if that might be an issue. Maybe if I move, I'll have to think on that to see if there's a place that I can move it so that it extends a little bit further. Because it might be the distance if it's only blinking out when I take it over to the anvil. Well, let's do wide this time. Don't mind the weird faces that I make when I am doing this in the wide. I make these weird faces sometimes when I'm concentrating on working. I do my best, but all right. We're getting a little bit of a twist in that tip, so I'm trying to kind of correct that. Prevent it from rolling. I use wireless accent points or access points to extend Wi-Fi. That's kind of what I've got. But yeah, so this is the, you know, the amount of taper that we've got so far. We've got a pretty good over here. I still want this to be a lot skinnier, but we're going to start getting a lot of twisting as the material thins out. It is because of the hammer. It's like I have a tendency to like kind of roll that the hammer blows a little bit as I am hammering with like a pulling blow, and that's something that I need to work on as a blacksmith. The precision on my hits. So we're gonna continue drawing this down, and I'm gonna work on getting straight head-on hits as opposed to glancing blows, and we'll fix that twist. Yeah, like I said, we bought like this, I don't know, it's like a 3-access point like extender thingy from like Linksys. It's like a Hawk, something Hawk. I'm not amazingly good with technology. My partner does that for me. And so yeah, it's like the one that I'm piggybacking off of is like right across this like, I don't know, 10-foot hall. And so I don't know. I think adding an extra like 5 feet might be messing with it a little bit. So I don't know. Maybe if I, instead of putting it on the counter, if I put it on another area that's a little bit closer, that might work. Because if I were to draw a line from where the access point is, it would be right about there. So bringing it over to this, or bringing the phone over to this holder might actually be testing its limits a little bit. So hopefully we can find a place to move it so that it works really well. But like I said, over here, like where the phone currently is and where the laptop is, I'm getting a really nice signal. So yeah. I'm gonna move the phone from over here or back to this one just to kind of test to see if that might actually be the problem. If it is, then I guess we'll be doing the stream in a wide for the rest of the time. And I will find a way to relocate it. So I apologize if I blink out again. How is, it says I still have full bars. Yeah, I don't know. starting to get a really nice width on that tip, and it's coming back, and I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm going to keep going and bring that same width all the way back so that we can get a nice even taper. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm trying to straighten it out just a little bit so it's a little less twisty, and it'll be easier on our next heat. Yeah, still great, still great. Okay, so now we're gonna go back to the wide. Seems like it's all right. Maybe it was just kind of just like my Wi-Fi itself, like the whole Wi-Fi system blinking out a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it seems like it's doing pretty well now. Did it drop? My body makes it drop off. That is very strange. Very strange. Huh. I have no idea. That's really, really weird. So, if that's the case, then I think doing the two different, the two cameras is going to make it a lot better. I will be able to have the wide shot with the main camera, and then with the main phone, and then I have a second phone that I can put on this guy, and then I'll just be able to switch scenes with the two camera setup. Hopefully that'll work a little bit better, and then I will only have to change the scenes from the phones. The signal could pass through, maybe come back as soon as you rotate it. The signal could, yeah, came back as soon as I rotated. That is so weird. I don't know why it would do that. I will have to talk to my partner and see if there's anything that they can think of. Like I said, I'm really technologically inept. I kind of only, you know, I'm learning as we go. So hopefully, you know, I don't know, maybe it's like, I don't know why it would be that way. It doesn't make any sense to me. Because, like, there's nothing in me that would be interfering as far as I'm aware. I don't have, like, you know, any, unless maybe I do have a Bluetooth connection from the microphone to a connector that's on the phone, but I doubt that would be interfering. That's really weird. Well, if we keep dropping, I think I'm just going to do the rest of the stream from the wide, if that's all right. And then on Friday, I will set up the two phones and we'll see what we can get from there. Because I don't want to be like blinking out every 3 seconds, because you guys won't be able to follow along. So I will bring the material over closer to the phone when I'm done with the heats. So hopefully that'll help. We'll do a mostly wide stream today. So we're good and pencil thin over on this area, and this is exactly what I want to see. So I want to bring that width right back down here. I think I want to bring it all the way back to maybe about whoops, it's not high enough, is it? I'm really happy with this side, the width that we've got here. It's all nice and sharp, and I think it'll be really well, or it'll do really well going into the cork itself. So I want to bring this width all the way back down to maybe like here. So we'll bring our heat a little bit further back, and we'll continue tapering that out. That way it'll be all nice and the taper will be even. So hopefully that'll work a little bit better than it did last time. But that's also the kind of taper that we're looking for a nail. So if I wanted to make a set of nails, what I would do is I would cut that right off, stick it in a nail header, and then hammer out the head of the nail. I had similar issues with my campfire stream. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. It's kind of weird. And it might also be like my phone is trying to decide whether it's on the network or if it's on the Wi-Fi. So, but I'm sorry. Like I said, I'll have a second camera and we'll set that up for Friday. Hopefully, you know, it'll work a little bit better. I'm so sorry about the scuff, but you know, we're all learning. We'll figure it out and, you know, improve every time. A few steps forward, some steps back, and hopefully we, you know, if we do 2 steps forward and only 1 step back, then we're still going forward. So we're going to start further back, closer to my hand, to really get that good and started for tapering, or like lengthening that area, the skinny area, because we're going to lose a lot of length when we are twisting it up, and we're kind of trying to make that up by tapering more length than we need. So I'm thinking that we're gonna go 4 times as much length as we want, because last time we did double the length that we wanted, and we ended up getting a really, really short corkscrew. Okay. So we're starting to bring that back. So we've got a real nice point over here, and it's skinny, 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 but it starts to get a little bit fatter over here, and we're really, I wanna lengthen that out a lot. It's a great stream, no doubts. Well, I hope so. I feel like I have a little bit of imposter syndrome, you know, and I think that everyone has a little bit of that, where you just like, you don't think you're very good at things. It's like you don't see your own work as being valid and, you know, worthwhile, but other people look at it and they're just like, that is so great. I'm so impressed. And it's something that I've always had to work on. I know that my work is valid, it's impressive, it's pretty, and it's worth doing. And it's just one of those things that I have to keep reminding myself over and over in my head, so that it just sticks in there. You know, and even if my work is terrible, it's worth doing because I enjoy doing it, you know? Really is, and you may. I sure do. Well, Thank you. Yeah, so, you know, it's always worth doing something that you enjoy, even if you're really bad at it. And eventually, like, the longer that you do it, you just get better and better at it every time, or like the more time that you spend. And, you know, it's kind of like practice makes perfect, that old adage. You know, you're going to get better the more you do something. And so, like, the streaming part, that's kind of why I just keep doing it, keep busting my head over on it. I mean, if it's, you know, I learn something every time, you know. Another thing I got to work on, you know, is not saying, you know, and stuff like that. So the more comfortable I get, the more I do it, and the better it'll be. So it's starting to get really warm in the shop. I've got a real nice heat going in on the forge today, and so it's really starting to heat up the entire area. It's not hot enough that I'm starting to like sweat or want to lose my jacket, but it's starting to get really nice and comfortable. I'm not like cold or shivering or anything. That's kind of unusual for this time of the year. I'm always cold. It's like I never want to go outside. My family says it's kind of detriments of the job. I get so used to being near the forge in the summer that in the winter time I just can't stand it. And there's a part of me that kind of thinks that's true, because my grandpa used to be a semi-truck mechanic, and his shop was never heated. It was never cooled, so it was always at room or like at outdoor temperature, and he was like never ever warm. Like, he wore hats and sweatshirts indoors even in the summertime. It was just so cold. I think it's just he got used to the temperature in the winter. Just his body just couldn't handle it anymore. So we're getting a lot of thinning out. I'm really happy with that taper. We're going to keep going a few more heats. I do have a weird lump right here that I'm seeing. So we've got that nice divot. I must have hit a little bit extra hard in that spot, or maybe I tilted the hammer. So I really need to like straighten that out a bit, squish this part in, and it'll continue a gradual taper, and we'll get rid of that divot. I think pretty soon I am going to punch out the back end of the material. It's starting to get a little bit uncomfortable, even with the leather glove. It's not too bad. It's not burning me or anything. It's just a little bit uncomfortable. So we'll do that after the next heat. So let's see. Talked about a lot of stuff on our stream, so I'm having a little bit of trouble coming up with things that we can talk about. So yeah, I was talking about temperature before, so I mean, I guess I could talk about that a little bit. My shop is not incredibly heated. I do have a full heater, like a furnace, but the thermostat is kind of weird, and it only really kicks on when it's like bitter cold, like below zero. So that's over on that side of the shop. Eventually, we have considered turning the shop so that you guys don't have to look at the garage door. And if we do that, you might actually see it. But So it will pump heat when it gets below 0, and it makes it a little bit more comfortable in here. But yeah, I don't have any, like, beyond that, I don't have any heat except for what pumps out of the forge. So it can get pretty cold in here. That's why sometimes you'll see me in my jacket. And as a result, I also don't have like an air conditioner. It's kind of like, it's only a furnace. It doesn't do central air. So I have a giant Caterpillar industrial fan, and what I do is I'll open up the garage door and I'll open up all of the doors, and I will turn on the fan, and it just like, it blows the air on me, and I'm constantly sweating, so the sweat kind of cools me down a little. Oh, awesome. Tell me about the anvil stand. What are important attributes you need for a stand? Okay, I would love to talk about that. So my anvil stand, I'm not sure that you can see it from here, but it's actually made out, let's see, if I do that, yeah, you guys can see it now. So this guy is actually made out of 9 sections of 4x4. Yeah, it's 4x4. So what I did was I bought, was it 3? I think I bought 3 4x4x8s at my local hardware store, and I cut them down, and these guys are 2 feet. And so then I just kind of, I got brackets and I bolted them all together, and then I put 2x4s on top as a platform for the anvil, right? Now, it's really important how high your anvil is, or like, that's kind of like a basic, overview of like what types of stands, or of my type of stand. There are other stands that I've seen used. I've seen like built stands out of steel. People will weld them together. People have like more angular stands. I have another stand out here on an anvil that it's kind of a different design. I'll show that one to you at some point when I go out to my outdoor section of the shop. But the important thing is the height of your stand. And so what you actually want to do for your anvil is, when you're standing next to it with your hammer in your hand, you actually want your knuckles to brush the top of the anvil when you're standing straight at it, right? So this one is actually a little bit on the tall side for me, but I'm really, really short. So I'm actually used to anvil stands that are a little bit taller. So I don't actually get a full extension when I do a hammer blow. I have a little bit of a bend in my elbow, and honestly, I feel like that helps a lot, because then I'm not overextending my elbow, and that's really what you're trying to do. You're trying to make sure that you don't overextend your elbow. That's why you kind of want a loose grip and your knuckles to brush the top of your anvil. I hope that makes a little bit of sense. I know I was a little bit weird about, designs of anvil stands, but I can find some links, and I'll see about, let's see if I can find my own Facebook, because I've got a picture on my Facebook. Let's see, of my anvil stand. Let's see if I can find it. My old anvil stand. Well, that's my old forge. I don't see any pictures of my anvil. But here's some pictures on my Facebook. So you can take a look at some of the pictures there. There is three pictures of different forges I've had. But yeah, this one is, my other anvil is kind of, it's very similar to like, or the design is very similar to a stool. So we've got this stool, and it's kind of got that like triangular design to the legs. But you have to be really careful if you're designing your anvil stand like that, because the pressure from the hammer blows will actually start separating those legs out. So I really like the straight stump style, which is kind of like these 4x4s. Tree stumps get used a lot. I know a lot of people, they'll like strap down an anvil to a stump. And I've kind of gotten this one. It is screwed onto the stand. Yeah, if you got any more questions about that, or if I didn't explain that well, let me know. I will do my best to clarify. I know some of that was a little on the confusing side because I started talking about other anvil stand designs. The important thing, like I said, is that you're from a standing position, that your knuckles brush the top of your anvil, or makeshift anvil, whatever the case may be, because you don't want to overextend your elbow as you're forging, and that's really easy to do, and that's like really how you injure yourself hammering. Proper hammer technique can be really, really important. Oops. So yeah. Oh, I have a picture of my new forge on there too. Interesting. But yeah, a lot of my Facebook pictures, there's a lot of of my previous work from years ago, some of the stuff that I made in college. Some of this stuff I've actually been paid for too. So, yeah. One of the most important things about your anvil stand is that it does need to be really, really solid, because you are going to be constantly hammering on it, and all of that force gets carried down the stand and into the floor. And like I said, if you don't have a solid construction, it'll start falling apart really, really easily. And when you don't have a press like I do, a lot of the old ones, or the old blacksmiths who didn't, they had power hammers that were their apprentices. They would use big old sledgehammers that they would make. And yeah, so if you're doing a team hammer, you definitely, because all of that extra force from the sledgehammer is going to go down into that the anvil stand. This one will be nice and solid, and it will survive the team hammer. But the stand that I have outside, it's too rickety, it's too flimsy. I've bolted it together as best as possible, but it's still gonna crack that wood. So yeah, make it as sturdy as possible. I've got bolts that go all the way through this guy. It's really, really nice. But it took me a lot of years to come up with or not to come up with the design, because it's, you know, the design was already out there, but it took me several years to like get around to actually just doing it, because I was given an anvil and a stand at the same time, the one that's out there, and it was just easier to use it until it started falling apart. And then when it started falling apart, it made it a lot harder to use. So, you know, if you start with a sturdy stand, then you don't have to worry about it. It's always going to be, you know, there and ready for you to just like hammer and wail on it. But yeah, I don't actually do any, you know, team hammers where I am the striker, is what they call it. So what you do when you're, you know, using the sledgehammer is you've got a black, or like a master, and then you have a couple of, you know, strikers, and the strikers have the sledgehammers, and they'll be the power hammer, and then your main, you know, caller will use a smaller hammer, and they'll actually keep time for it so that it makes it a lot easier, especially when you have more than one striker. Striker teams can be really, really fun to be on, really important, but you could really injure yourself if you don't have a good team or a good lead. Always got to have a good striker lead. Keep that rhythm. All right. So we're getting to the point now where we're getting a decent amount of taper in there. It's all nice and thin, and I think it's gonna work really well. So I'm thinking we need a little bit further on that, you know, the skinny taper. We'll maybe do another 1 to 2 inches of the bar back here, and then we will round it out and start twisting. But I'm pretty happy with the taper. So let's see, what else is important for a beginner blacksmith, or like tools? I think I've already talked about like basic tools that you need, just like a piece of metal, a hammer, and then, you know, something to heat your metal. Those are your like 3 most important things. We've talked about safety equipment, or PPE, personal protection equipment. Which I'm not even wearing all mine today. I should be wearing my apron, and I'm not. Let's see, we've discussed making tongs, and if you don't have tongs that you know, and you're still like making them, you can totally use like a vice grip. Those things are really easy to, and they hold your material really well, because you can lock them in on the material, and you can kind of like leave them on the end, you know, of your material. You'll probably have to use a welding glove when you're using vice grips like that, because they'll get hot after a while. But yeah, they're great for like your first few projects, like, you know, for your hammer control for like leaves, hooks, things like that. I always recommend, you know, doing a few of those, and then when you've got your hammer control to a point where you're happy with it, then work on making tongs. You can also buy tongs that are already made. There are several Facebook groups on Blacksmithing where you can buy tools. So like one of the groups that I'm a part of is Blacksmithing for Beginners and the Blacksmithing for Beginners tailgate sale. Those are great places to find beginner tools, anvils, tongs, hammers, things like that. Also, you know, the people there are wonderful. If you have any questions, they'll answer them happily. They'll give you critique on the work that you've made, so you can tell them and ask, you know, show them the work that you've done and ask them to kind of like tell you what they think of it. They're really great about that over there. But yeah. What else? New name, who dis? Yeah, I do. I have a new name. So hopefully you guys were able to find me. I posted my old name in my description. But yeah, Ray's Smithy, so that it's, you know, because before Reagan R, that's kind of like my gamer tag. I go by Raygun for all of my MMOs and like my, you know, some of my other, you know, gamer stuff, my Steam tag and stuff like that. So I wanted to kind of differentiate that so that it was a little bit more professional. Yeah. So if you're interested in seeing the kind of stuff, I mean, you can friend me and stuff. I was here when you announced it last stream, just kidding around. All right, that makes sense. Yeah. So yes, I was able to do it. I am attempting to change the name on my Facebook, which the link is up on the screen, so that it matches and it makes it a little bit easier for people to find that too. But for the moment, you guys can take a look at my, you know, business Facebook. You can see a lot of my old work there. I will eventually post the link in my bio for the Twitch. And I'm going to, you know, set up the YouTube channel probably this weekend. It might not be done on Friday, but hopefully it'll be done for Monday's stream, and I'll put that in the bio as well. Yep. Let's see. We're getting really close to finishing off this taper, and we'll be able to round that out, and we'll be able to start twisting it, scrolling it into the corkscrew shape. I had some trouble last stream where when I was curling it, it was kind of creating more of a screw shape as opposed to a corkscrew. So we may end up having to use the vise to kind of like pull it apart when we're done scrolling that. But we'll look to see what we can what we can do. Hopefully, I won't have to do that. It would be less convenient. Got a few lumps and bumps in here that we're trying to get rid of. Even that out a bit. And we are continuing with a wide view of this because we're having a little bit of issues with connectivity when I move the phone between the wide view and the anvil view. I got a new Wi-Fi extender kit, and when we put it up, and so I'm using that, but for whatever reason, the stream keeps blinking out when I go from the anvil cam to the wide view, and I'm not sure why that is, so. Let's see. Thank you all for the follows and the comments. Looks like I've got another follower that I did not have before, but it's not telling me who followed me. I know I have the activity feed, and I can see where most people followed, but I don't see who the last person who followed was for some reason. I see who followed me 2 days ago, but not the people who followed me today. So that's kind of strange. But whoever you are, thank you so much for the follow. I very much appreciate that. We're closing in on our goal of 40 followers. Once we hit 40 followers, we're going to up our goal to 50 followers, because at 50 followers, I can become an affiliate. And then that means you guys can sub and help me out a little bit, you know, supporting the stream. I'm never going to ask for money, but, you know, streaming, like blacksmithing is not cheap. So, you know, if you guys are interested in, you know, supporting me, you know, that would make me happy. But I want to stream, you know, no matter what. So I will be continuing to stream no matter what. Yankee is raiding with a party of 54. Thank you so much, Yankee. Shout out. I am here this time. Yankee is an amazing tool maker, tool restorer, and who specializes in restoring axes and old tools. And we are always excited to see him come and join us. So today we are we're blacksmithing a corkscrew, and we are currently tapering the material. Tapering is what you do when you reduce the height and width of a square bar, and also increase its length. So if I show you what the material looks like now, so we've got a nice long skinny taper going on there. It's got a very nice yellow glow in there. So we've got a really skinny area here, and this is going to be what punches into the cork, and we're tapering it out so that as we screw the corkscrew, it will continue down smoothly into the cork, and we can pop out that bottle, or we can open that bottle, pop out the cork. So we are almost to the point where we can turn that square profile into a round profile, and after that we'll be finished with our taper, and we'll be able to twist the cork screw so that it will be a screw shape instead of that nice taper. So thank you all for joining me, and welcome in. I'm Ray. I stream blacksmithing. I stream every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 2:30 to 4:30 Eastern. And yeah, so if you've got any questions about blacksmithing, about me as a person, about my stream, any pieces of equipment, anything that you see, just let me know and I'm happy to answer questions. I'm pretty knowledgeable about things. But yeah, welcome in. We will be streaming for another hour, maybe hour and a half. And if we finish the corkscrew, we'll probably, let's do some leaves. So yeah, if we finish the corkscrew, we'll do a couple leaves. I have a really good time slot for raids. I hope so. I won't lie, I kind of look around, do my homework, I try to be convenient. Am I gonna split the end of the bar and make a handle? I might split the end of the bar and, or I might cut off the corkscrew that we make and then create a tenon and a hole in a tenon. So what I would be doing is creating a rivet on the end of the corkscrew so that I can fit it through a hole in a bar and pop it through and rivet it in place. So I might do that because it makes a really nice tight seal when I'm not moving the rivet as I'm cooling it. It'll lock in place and it'll be really nice. Or I could twist it and kind of like make a folded T. That's another way that we could do that. Or we could indeed split that bar and bring in, kind of turn that into bicycle handles. So I haven't quite decided what we're doing with that yet because this is my second time attempting a corkscrew, and so I'm kind of like learning as I go, and we're learning together for this project. So we did bottle openers last week, maybe the week before. And one of our viewers was asking about corkscrews. So I figured, no time like the present, let's teach ourselves corkscrews. That was me, yes. Hi, TD Carlo. Or ask Yankee to make a handle for me. Yes, there will be a time, Yankee. It's coming. I think we should do a collab. I'll make, someday I'll make an axe and maybe you can make a handle. I mean, what do you think? Let's see. Did I miss any of my comments? Hello, and yes, thanks for the raid. Thank you, Carces, for following me. We are so close to our followers goal of 40 followers. And then a 50 follower goal. And then once we hit 50 followers, we will become an affiliate and we'll be able to take the stream to a little bit further with a little bit more controls and stuff like that. So pretty happy about that. Thank you all for joining me. Thanks for the followers and thanks for the raid. But who gets to keep it? I don't know. I mean, I think it would be cool if we raffled it off, Maybe, if I make an axe head and Yankee makes the handle, maybe we can, raffle it off to one of you guys. I mean, what do you think, Yankee? Is that something you're interested in? So we'll have to, we'll have to talk together and, see what, if we can work something like that out. It's probably not going to be immediately soon because I need to work out a couple things so that I can get a coal forge going because I would have to do a forge weld for that because the best way to make an axe is to kind of fold the material around and forge weld in a bit of tool steel. So you got your soft metal on the outside and a bit of tool steel on the inside, kind of sandwiched together. So in order to do that, I have to get my coal forge running. This particular propane forge, it doesn't quite get the oxygen and propane mix exactly right so that I can do a forge weld. So, you know, once I get that done, it'll probably be closer to the summer. We will, you know, we'll have to look into that. That would be a lot of fun. A dead giveaway. Interest peaked. That's a cool idea. I'm wearing red flannel. All right, yeah. So, I mean, that's an idea. I think it would be a lot of fun to do that. So, you know, but I also, you know, obviously, you know, Yankee's got to be able to, you know, fit that into his schedule as well. So, you know, we'll see. We'll try and collab like that. Farmer67, thank you for the follow. I am so grateful that you all have joined. Yeah, thank you so much for the follow. I think I'm gonna continue with this taper. We're almost done and we've got plenty of heat. Looks like I am starting to get a freeze. My gas is starting to freeze a little bit. So right now we're down to a black heat, so we're kind of correcting a little bit of twisting and a little bit of bending. So when we've got a nice black heat like that, we don't want to do a lot of squishing. We want to do a little bit more of the bending and correcting. So shallower hits, a little less power, but we'll end up able to straighten that out. So I can see we've got a couple lumps and bumps in here. So we'll bring that back to the forge, heat it up, and we'll squish out those bumps, make them a lot more flat. So this is a very similar process to one that we would use for nails. So this would make a really good nail on this end here. So what I would do is I would cut that right off about maybe here. I'd put that in a nail header, which is a tool for making nails, and then I'd smack that down and make a nail head. You know what? The back end is getting a little on the hot side. So I'm going to take a pair of tongs and I'm going to quench this off so that it is less uncomfortable to handle. You can kind of hear that nice sizzle from the heat of the metal and the water. Right. Where there's a will, there's a way. Yes, yes. Awesome. Thank you so much, Norvembeg. I totally butchered that name. Norvembega. Yes, thank you so much for that follow. That means we have reached our 40 follower goal. Thank you guys so much. That is so exciting. You know, I've got to come up with something good for you guys. You know, what about if I, you know, let you guys pick the next project? I can't do nails right now because I don't do a nail header. But yeah, what about you guys? What would you like for me to, you know, blacksmith next for like next week's stream, the 3 days? If you guys can pick the project, what do you guys think? You know, you guys come up with a project, something small, and then I will, you know, do that project next week. So exciting. It has been an adventure streaming blacksmithing. I really only started at the end or the middle of November, and I streamed all through December. And so we're going to continue streaming through the new year, but I haven't been doing this for very long. So the fact that you guys have come and joined me and, you know, interacted with me and created this amazing community around me, it's so encouraging. I'm so happy. All right, we're going to do a little bit of correction. There's a few bumps and lumps in here. We want to make sure that we get everything all nice and flat. All right. As we look down the length of the bar, I can see there's a little bit of a turn in the very tip. We got to take that out for the moment so that we can make sure that we know where all of the lumps and bumps are. And then after that, I think we are about where I'm ready to go for twisting out this corkscrew. So we've got a nice, really thin, really even taper in there. I'm really happy with it. So our next step, what we're going to do is we're going to hang the piece of material off of the corner of the anvil, and we're going to give glancing blows. So it's going to kind of be a hammer blow that's not a direct up and down hammer. It's just kind of like tapping it. And as it taps, or as I tap it, we'll start pushing the material down, and it'll start curling very in a round shape, and then we'll be able to make that corkscrew work. So that is our next. Well, I guess that's not our next goal, because I forgot corkscrews are round. So I've got to round out the square profile first. I'm sorry. Like I said, this is my second attempt at a corkscrew. Second attempt at a corkscrew, so I'm gonna have a few mistakes here and there, and we're kind of learning together. So I gotta round out the square profile first, and then I can start curling or scrolling it. So yes, then I will start rolling it. Congrats on the follower goal. Thank you so much. Like I said, I am so excited. I'm so happy to see you guys are interested in my content and want to see more streams from me. Like I said, I'm going to continue streaming throughout this next year. New stream, new me. I've got a brand new name that we started today. And so we are streaming, you know, as a company as opposed to on my gamer tag. So new year, new me. So that's my New Year's resolution today. And for the coming year is to increase my quality of my streams and increase the quality of the community and the size of the community and get to know you guys. So yes, I'm so excited. If you guys want to pick our next project for next week's streams, you know, let me know if there's anything that you're interested in seeing. We have done leaves, we've done hooks, these are J hooks. We've done some of those. Some of the things that we've done. We've got leaves that we've done. So these are leaves. They've got, you know, a nice vine on them. And we've done J hooks. So this is kind of like the beginning of a J hook. So we've made a hook and we put a hole in there and we could decorate it. And then we've made bottle openers. So, bottle openers. So you can open the beer bottles and the wine bottles. And yeah, so here's a little bit better of a J-hook. It's got a nice leaf on it, and you put a little nail in the top of that. So we can do any of those sorts of things or other projects that you guys are interested in. We could do S-hooks. We could do lots of things. Have I made, oh, tongs. I did make tongs for my first few streams. Those are kind of a long-term project. It'll probably take me a couple weeks to do a set of tongs, but if you guys are interested in tongs, I will 100% do a set of tongs. I have a set of tongs that I made like a long time ago, and I kind of want like a tong redemption. These are a set of scrolling tongs. They're like the second set of tongs I ever made, and they are so ugly. I can't use them for anything. At the same time, a buddy of mine who was teaching me how to make tongs, he made these scroll tongs, and these are really pretty scroll tongs. I want to, reproduce these because they're really pretty. They work so well. They function. They're really nice and easy on the hands. I mean, look at that action. That's so awesome. You can really get a good grip on that. So I want tong redemption. So I will 100% do tongs. Generally, I'm interested in anything you pick will be fine by me. You missed the tongs. Yeah. I think I only get 30 days of VOD storage on Twitch right now because I am a Prime subscriber. But yeah, I think they get rid of my VODs after a month. So I don't have really good footage. So I would love to make more footage so I can do a YouTube tutorial and post that. So yeah, I mean, maybe we can start, a set of tongs next week if you guys are interested in that. I have made nails, but I have not made nails in this shop, right? When I made nails, it was in another blacksmith shop. And so there's a tool that you need to make nails. You've got that nice taper that we've got going on here, and that's very good for nails. And that's definitely what you want to see. But in order to get the top of a nail, like the head of a nail, here. In order to get the head of a nail, so you've got a nice taper on that, the point and the shaft of the nail, there's a head of the nail, right? So in order to make this head, you kind of have to make a specific tool. And so basically, the shape of the tool is very similar to this piece of plastic. So you put the nail in through that hole, or in through the hole, right? And then you hammer on the head, and it will squish it down and kind of like flatten it out, and it makes a head on that nail. So I don't have a nail header tool. So in order to start making nails, I need to make a nail header tool. So I have the material for it, but it's kind of a boring process. It's kind of like you take a piece of thick sheet. I have a bunch of 1/2-inch sheet steel. I just cut out a little quarter of it and drill a hole in it. It takes a little bit of time because you got to drill through the whole 1/2 inch of the plate. So it's kind of not something that I really want to stream, but I need to do that before I can make a nail. So I will do my best to get that nail header made so that you guys can see that. But I don't have one yet. So that is the one project that I cannot do yet. I apologize. Yeah, so nail header and nails. You can just forward them to YouTube to keep VODs. Yeah, I need to start doing that. That's really what I need to do. I have the ability to simul stream on YouTube and Twitch. And if I simul stream, then YouTube will keep that stream. So I could do that through Streamlabs. So I've been thinking about doing that. So if I don't end up putting the VODs out there, but I'm also looking to edit them down so that you don't have to hear me say and ah and all the time. So that's my goal, is to learn how to edit. Makes sense on the nails. Yeah, so I will 100% get on that, but it's gonna, oh my gosh, there was a mouse that just ran through my shop. That's awesome. I will have to put out the traps again. There is a field out behind the house, and sometimes when it gets cold, mice come in here. But yeah, I can't have the mice in here. They'll make nests in my tools, and that's never good. But yeah, so I will see about making a nail header within, or like in the next couple weeks. It'll probably be done. I'll have to do it on the weekend so that I have time to do it. But yeah, I will do my best to get a nail header together. Oh, I have a new pet. I know, man. I have a shop cat. Well, maybe not a shop. It's an indoor cat, and he would absolutely adore coming out here and catch all my mice, but it's kind of dangerous for him out here. I've got like a lot of like sharp bits of metal that I don't want him to step on. All right, let's turn the square profile into a round profile. So we're doing this by placing the corner of the square onto the top of the anvil, and then we are hammering on the opposite corner. So we are taking the square profile and turning it into an octagon. So from a square to an octagonal profile. And then from the octagon, we can get rid of all of the faces. Instead of having 4 or 8, then we'll have no faces. So what we do is we kind of turn the material as we're hammering. Round that out and get rid of all of the faces. So we're really starting to round that profile out. So we've got that that square profile. We see those quarters that you can see. So we're really starting to get rid of those on our tapered section. And that'll make it a lot easier to slide the rounded area down into the cork as we are twisting our corkscrew. So that is the goal for that one. So we're going to heat it up again and continue rounding out our corkscrew. Tom and Jerry, yeah. So my cat is an orange tabby. His name is Tungsten. He's absolutely adorable. I should get some pictures for you guys to see. I'll put them on my profile, or I can put them on my Facebook maybe. But yeah, and then I have a black lab, and she's kind of a black lab and a collie mix. So she's about yay tall, and she's 80 pounds, and she pulls me around like I weigh nothing, and she's my gorgeous good girl. So yes, I have a cat, Tungsten, and a dog, Jade. And yeah, so they're both named for, materials that I work with. So tungsten is like a material that is used for tools. It's a very hard tool. You can use drill bits and stuff like that. When I was a jeweler, there are tungsten rings that you can get. So his name kind of came from that. And then jade is, the stone, like a green, like a light green stone, like jade. So there's a theme to my animal names. So, I mean, if I adopt the mouse, it'll have to have a themed name, Tungsten was also used in anti-tank ammunition. That's interesting. Now, I knew that tungsten is the material of the filament of a Edison style light bulb. That's also part of how he gained his name, because the light that is produced by a tungsten filament light bulb is orange, very bright orange. And my partner works with lights. My partner is a filmmaker, works for our local news station as a commercial producer. So yeah, really exciting stuff. And spent uranium. Yeah. Nasty stuff. But my kitty cat, he's a sweet boy. Loves cuddles. And sitting on our laps. So we are continuing to round out that square profile. And by doing this, we're taking out lumps, bumps, and straightening out our piece. It's a good wrist workout, specifically because I'm not allowing my hammer to bounce back at me. Ordinarily, I would allow my hammer to bounce back at me. That gives me a little bit of an extra leverage so that I can push or pull back the hammer and let it down with a lot more effort, a lot more force and pressure. But when we are doing really detailed work like this, we don't want that. We want a much more controlled and shallow hammer blow. So we've got that nice taper in there. So now that it's all nice and round, I think we're going to start that twist for that corkscrew. So like I said before, we're going to take it to the edge of the anvil, and we're going to hammer glancing blows to kind of twist that out. And we'll see how that goes. My last corkscrew, I kind of made it more closer to chainmail than a corkscrew. So when I make chainmail, you start with a wire, and you kind of hold that wire with the vise, and then you kind of clamp in a smaller wire, and then you just like wrap it around the axis, and then you get a whole bunch of little tiny rings that you can kind of clip off of the wire with a wire cutter. And that's how you make like chainmail. So these are really little rings that I had started, and I did not like the size. I ended up making this size rings instead. So those are a lot bigger. Anyway, so my last corkscrew, I made them a little bit too close together, so there was no space for the cork to get in between the curls. So I'm gonna try and correct that this time. We'll see how well I do, because like I said, this is only my second attempt. So, chainmail, you going into battle. I mean, I'm not personally going into battle, but I did a lot of work with a reenactment group, the Society for Creative Anachronism, the SCA. I did a lot of work with them, and I've done a lot of work with the Boy Scouts, and I've taught them blacksmithing, a little bit of jewelry work. So yeah, it's like just different groups that I've done stuff with. They're interested in different types of things, and the SCA people were kind of interested in the chainmail and swords and armor aspect of things. So that's something that, you know, I'm not amazingly like, you know, it's not my favorite thing to do, but, you know, it's something that they were interested in. So I taught myself how to do it, and then I started teaching them. Here's an idea for a practice: shin guards. Shin guards? Do you need shin guards? Like, are we talking like armor, or are we talking more like soccer or football? Non-American football. like goalie pads or something like that. Is that what you're talking about? Armor. Okay, so I have done some armor. I'm not a fan of doing armor, to be quite honest. Armor is another thing that that if I go about streaming it, I'll have to use my coal forge. I don't have enough space for the sheet that is required for the larger pieces of armor. So I'm not going to be able to do those right away. But eventually, I do plan on doing some more geeky projects like armor, maybe swords, stuff like that. Ancient times, antiquity. I do actually specialize in doing, or I did in school, in working with sheet metal. My nose is running, so I will be right back. I am going to mute the stream for half a second. I apologize for that. But yeah, it's kind of on the colder side in my shop today, and I'm a little under the weather, but like not that bad. But I do have kind of like a runny nose, so yeah. Are we gonna guess the sound effects? Yes, you can guess the sound effects because I don't want you to have to hear that. I mean, nobody wants to hear blowing noses. Nobody wants to hear bathroom noises. I mean, yeah, I used to raid in MMOs, and there was this one person who, when they went to the bathroom, they forgot to mute themselves, and they wore their headset into the bathroom for some reason. That was more information about that person than I ever wanted to know. I try not to do that. All right, so we are going to start curling this corkscrew. So we're using these glancing blows, and then we've got like a nice curl going there. We got to be really careful because it is so thin that we're actually going to risk cracking our piece. So I'm going to actually put that back in the forge. And I think it's thin enough that we'll probably be able to use our scrolling tongs. So I'm going to pull those out. These lovely scrolling tongs. And I'm going to put those right here. One thing that all blacksmiths should do, and you know, some of them do, is set up their anvil, right? So you want to leave yourself as much time as possible to work with the material as it's hot. So you don't want to like have to look around your shop and be like, where's my hammer? Where's my tongs? So I always set my hammer parallel to the horn of my anvil so that I always know where it is. It's always within reach. I always put my tongs perpendicular across the face of my anvil so that I always know where those are. And same with any gloves or anything that I use for longer pieces. I always put them perpendicular on the top of my anvil so I always know where they are. I never have to like lose them. Other things I lose in the shop, but I never lose the tools that I'm actively working with on the anvil. Not cool. I guess I'm the better one. I mostly just curse a lot. And mostly in my language, so it lowers the odds that somebody would understand me. I have a tendency to curse a lot when I am playing MMOs. So I used to be in a raid team that would stream the raids, and I was constantly cursing. But at the time it was all right because of the viewership, but I try not to curse here. So if I ever get so frustrated that I feel the need to curse, I'll probably end the stream so that you guys don't have to see that. All right. So I'm gonna use the scroll tongs to kind of curl this up. Oh, I think this is actually the way to go. I can really start controlling this real nice and real easy. Oh, did I crack it? No, I did not. Awesome. Good, I did not crack it. So yeah, we've got a little bit more heat going. But yeah, we're starting to get that nice curl in there. Pretty happy with that. We're gonna put that back in the forge, and we're gonna pull that out a little bit because we've got our tip touching the scroll, and we really need this at a 90-degree angle so that we can kind of like stab it into the cork. So that's our goal for the moment. Seems like it's gonna work pretty well. Pretty happy with that for the moment. Okay, coolie. So it looks like we will probably finish making the scrolled corkscrew section of the corkscrew pretty quickly. Once I start scrolling it, it doesn't take too long. Sometimes it takes a few heats if I start, if I like drop something, or, you know, I work a little bit on the slow side. But I think we should be good on that. So now I guess I gotta decide how I want to do the handle. Do I want to do a folded handle, or do I want to do something more like a riveted hammer, or I mean a riveted corkscrew, or do I want to use like a wood handle? So many decisions, so many different types that I could do. Bicycle handle. Do you guys have an opinion? I could split the material so that we could take the square section, split it in half, and bend them out, or I could fold it into like an S kind of shape. Or we could make a tenon and rivet it to a separate piece of material. How exciting. Oh, folded handle, like you put a few curves in. Folded sounds cool. Yeah, so it's basically, if I'm folding it, then do I have anything similar already? Looking around the shop to see if I can't find anything. Do I have wire? I do have wire. I found some wire. Okay, so if I did the folded handle, what I would do is I'd take that straight, and then I'd we'd give ourselves like a T shape that's kind of, you know, like this. So that's kind of what I imagine for a folded handle. And then you could just like hold that and then twist it around. And that would be, you know, how you got the cork, or the corkscrew into the cork. Or I could create a rivet on the end of it, and then we could drill a hole into a piece of square metal, put the rivet through, and hammer that in. That's very similar to something you would see with, like, you know, like a rivet. So you'd have like a rivet head on there. So we'd kind of give ourselves, or create a rivet on the one side. And that's a mortar and tenon. That's what that's called. We could do that. We could, what is the other one? Oh yeah, split it in half. So we'll cut the material vertically and then fold it out and split that into like a bicycle handlebar. Folded sounds cool. By the way, I mean it honestly, not sarcastic intention. Yeah. It is really exciting to be able to finish a project. I have a tendency to like bite off more than I can chew with projects. Like I'll be like, I'm gonna make a leaf in 2 hours, and unfortunately blacksmithing is about patience and correcting mistakes and things like that. So it inevitably, it always takes like one more heat and then one more heat and one more heat. So I always get really happy and excited when things go, you know, on schedule and to plan. So, because it doesn't happen a lot in this line of work. So I always, when I'm making a commission for someone, I always give myself a couple weeks leeway so that if I break something or if I like have to start from scratch, I give myself a little bit of time to make that happen. All right, we're gonna continue curling our material. So we've got 2 curls now. Looks like I've curled it over top of itself. So instead of doing a corkscrew, what I'm starting to do is like a spiral, and that's not what we want to see. So I'm gonna, we're starting to do a spiral instead of a corkscrew. So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to put it back in the forge and kind of pull that out so that we've got like a much, you know, a longer, you know, spring-like curl as opposed to a spiral curl. And we once again are using a lot more length than I had anticipated, because like I said, I never ever anticipate enough length, because we lose a lot of length as we're doing this. So that looks cool. Yeah, I think it looks I think it looks really cool. Like I said, this is my second time attempting a corkscrew, so I'm pretty happy with my progress. So when I'm learning something, a new technique, it's kind of like you have to do many of them and fix your mistakes every time you do it. So you do like 100 leaves, 100 hooks, stuff like that, so that you get that precision, the muscle memory, and you can just like whip them out. It increases your speed. So I'm kind of designing as I'm hammering. You are seeing me learn as I go today. So yeah. Thank you so much for Stanton Seppa for that follow. I hope you're having fun here. Welcome to the community. I am here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We look forward to seeing everybody, you know, enjoy the show. I like blacksmithing. If you got any questions, you know, let me know. I am here to answer. We got about 30 to 40 minutes left in the stream. Like I said, we should be able to finish up the corkscrew section of this. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of pull this out a bit. How's it going? We're gonna go, be careful. That sounded worse than it was. Let's see, can we do that? like so. I think we're gonna have to get another heat in there, but we're starting to get it pulled out. It's a little bit more thickness on there as opposed to that skinny little scroll. So I'm getting happier with it. But we lose a lot of heat when we're using the scroll tongs. So something that happens every time you're blacksmithing is that you gather all of the heat from the forge, and then every time you touch your material to another surface, like another cold surface, like the air, the hammerhead, your tongs, the face of the anvil, the other materials start cooling and sapping out the heat from the material. So the more metal that it touches, the colder it gets faster. So you really want to touch it as little as possible and keep it in the forge as long as possible, so that you can, work your material quickly. Let's see. How many kilo hammer? I am an American, so I am not smart enough to convert my imperial to metric. So I apologize. But this is a 2-pound hammer, and it is the hammer that I've been using recently. Here, let me Google that, man. Google is your friend, right? Pounds to kilo. All right, so according to Google, it is 0.907 kilograms for that particular hammer. And then I have, something like that. And then my favorite hammer, the one that I used to use all the time. It's been a little bit since I've gotten back into blacksmithing, but I'm still rebuilding my stamina. But this hammer, it's my favorite one. It's the one I used to use all the time. This is a 3-pound hammer. So that is about 1.25-ish kilos. So yeah, they're not light, but you get used to them. So and it's a lot easier to use the rebound that the anvil face gives you to pick up that hammer. So you don't have to pick up the whole 2 pounds every time you do the hammer return. You've got some bounce there, so it comes back into your hand a little bit. I was close, yeah. So let's get our precise 3 pounds as opposed to, okay, so 1.36 for the 3-pound hammer, so 1.36 kilograms. What am I forging? I am forging a corkscrew right now, so like a wine bottle opener. So basically, I have a piece of square stock, and I've tapered that down, reduced the width and height of a square bar, and into like a really, really skinny thing, and then I'm starting to curl it right now. So we can pull that out and show that to you. There we go. It's starting to come out real nice now. I'm gonna work a little bit further on this before I bring it to you. And we are learning how to do this as we go. This is my second attempt at this. So we learn what we can and we move on a little bit. But yeah, so we've got ourselves a nice corkscrew forming there. We'll have to pull that out a little bit further, but yeah, we're going to continue twisting this out so that we go all the way down here. So we've got our little pointy section here. We're going to grind that out so it's a little bit more pointier, and it makes it a lot easier to go into the cork itself. And then when we put the handle on it, we have the skinny section. It'll like, it kind of tapers back, so it'll increase the size of the hole as you twist it. But we've got it all nice and smooth so that it doesn't catch when you spin it. So we're trying to open our wine bottles, our champagne bottles from the new year. All right, weapon for killing or what? Looking good, the old time. Yeah, I don't have, or I have made swords before, and I've made some knives before. I'm not a violent person. I try not to, like, you know, make weapons for you know, that sort of thing. I do things for show, but yeah, I have done swords, I've done armor, I've done knives. My swords are not the sharp type, they're like for fencing, so I made a couple rapiers, or like for tournament style stuff with like the little bulb at the end of them so that you don't injure yourself. The armor I made, it was kind of for reenactment, so I've done that stuff before. Need to forge a katana for sabering them open. Yeah. A katana takes so long though. So basically when I've spent the last, like, you know, hour and a half kind of taking a 1/4 inch, a 1/4 inch square stock piece of material and kind of tapering it down to that little point. But I've only actually had to taper maybe like an 8-inch section of it. So like a katana, it's really long. So if it takes me around, you know, 2.5 hours to taper that much on, you know, an 8-inch section, if you imagine how long it would take for me to taper something that was like, you know, 3 feet long, and then a proper katana is folded like 1,000 times. So these things, the master katana makers, they're working for like months on these things, you know, day in and day out. Gotta run. See you later, Dark. See you. I hope you had fun. Thanks for coming. But yeah, so it takes an awful long time for that. So unfortunately, blacksmithing takes a lot longer than it does in the movies and in video games. You know, you play your video games like Skyrim and your MMOs, and it takes you like, you know, 3 hits and you've made a whole piece of armor. It takes a little bit longer than that for a real, or like a blacksmith in real life, unfortunately. All right, so we're continuing to curl this with glancing blows from the edge of the anvil, and then we are hammering a little bit towards ourselves to kind of curl that into a round form. And we can use every edge of the anvil, and we'll pull that out a little bit. Looks like we're going to pull it out a little bit further on the next heat. I'm a little bit afraid that I'm going to actually end up accidentally breaking it. We've got a little bit of scale forming in there, but if we worked it a little bit further than that, what we'd end up getting are cracks in it. we get some cold shunts. So right now we're still good, but if we work it much further, we're going to end up cracking it and breaking pieces off. So we're going to try not to do that. But we are also going to take some of that scale off of here. So this right here is a steel bristle brush. So I can kind of take the scale off, which scale is actually hot rust. So there's an oxygen-rich atmosphere inside of my gas forge, and so the oxygen oxidizes the metal in the forge, and it creates rust. And the hot rust, it has a tendency to pop off while I'm hammering it, and it can burn me, and that's never good. So we try to take the scale off before it pops off. That way we control where it pops. Hey, Jaden Fox. Welcome. All right. Always excited to be here, and save me a glass after you finish and test the corkscrew. Yep. Hello. I definitely will. I have to buy a bottle though. I don't have any bottles of wine in the house right now. So yeah, I'll have to find something to test it with. All right, we're gonna spin the material in the forge because we're getting a lot of nice heat on the skinny part of the corkscrew, but less heat on the part that we're actually trying to curl. So we are waiting on that. So, yep. So Yankee, I see that you're here now. Are you watching, or are you like lurking? Everybody wants to see us do a collab. I think that would be so much fun. Cleaning up the mess I made. What's up? I think it would be absolutely a blast to make an axe head and send it over to you, and you can make me a handle for it. And then it might be fun to, you know, raffle it off to the viewers. I think that might be a fun collab. What are we making? Ooh, that sounds fun. Do it. I mean, it'd be a lot of fun. I would not be able to do that until this summer. If you're still interested, I've got to get my coal forge up and running because in order to get the bits into the axes, I can't forge weld with this forge. The oxygen and propane mix is off, so it just never quite gets to forge welding temperatures. But I do have a coal forge out in the outside of the shop, but I can't use it until the summer. So once I get that all set up, cleaned up, and ready to go, it would be so much fun to make an axe head. What do you think? Yeah, we have to be careful how you do a giveaway on Twitch for sure. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how that works because I don't want to like run into anybody's like gambling laws and stuff like that. I mean, I don't think that we would like pay for it or anything, but like, you know, so we'll have to, or I'll have to do some research, see how that works. But if you're interested, you know, maybe, you know, this summer, like later on, if you're interested, we might be able to do something like that. It would be so much fun. All right, we are going to continue curling this. We're almost to the end of our taper, which is a good thing. And we use all edges of our anvil. All right. Keep keep on keeping on that curl. So it looks like we've got about 4 loops. So I'm hoping that's enough. I'm not entirely sure. I don't actually have my own corkscrew. So if you guys can, if you guys know how many loops I need for a corkscrew, let me know a nice number. We might be able to taper it back a little bit further if I need more. I was thinking about doing 6, but right now I only have 4. So I'm not entirely. So yeah. Like I said, second corkscrew, so we are teaching ourselves, we're learning. Me neither, but yes, I believe it has to be no purchase to enter, but there is a way to still do it. Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Yeah, I will, when it gets closer to the summer, I will DM you and we'll see about some details for that. But yeah, I do. I think it would be so much fun. I've never done, it's another thing I've never done before, but at least with an axe, I actually have a few patterns that I can just like follow the pattern. I don't have to like reinvent the wheel. So yeah, we can figure that out. I might just do like a looped axe. It's kind of one of those, are we making a wood cutting axe or a people killing axe? And I think I would rather do a wood cutting axe. So maybe instead of doing a looped axe, we'll do a wood cutting axe. With a drifted out eye. I will have to either make a drift or purchase a drift. I think I could buy a drift on Blacksmith's, the Blacksmith tooling website that I use. I gotta figure out what it is on my bookmarks. Oh, like a folded one, you mean by looped? Yeah, it would kind of, we could either do a folded axe, like looped, or like a more, a thick piece, but like kind of wrapped around itself and then forge welded with a bit in between. Or we could also take a chunk of this guy. It is, I think that's about 1.5 inches by 2 inches. And then we could upset it so it's a little bit bigger than that. I kind of want it, a piece about yay big. And then we might be able to like drift that out, drift the hole in with a hammer drift. Or, an axe drift, I'm sorry. Yep. So either way, we'll want to, or I will want to forge weld a bit in there. Because I think that's going to be the easiest way to go. So I'm going to try and pull this apart a little bit. If I can figure out how to. Yeah, that's working pretty well. I think I need a little bit more heat because I want to pull this area out a little bit further, and this area is really cold. I think that if I pulled that out with the tongs, it'll break right off of there, so that, because that's real nice and skinny. I also need to like close that up a bit. It kind of opened up a little bit when I pulled it out. So I think what I'm gonna do, we're getting close to time, so I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna finish the curl on this, and then on Friday we will work on making the handle for this corkscrew, if you guys are all right with that. And then we'll start the new project next week we'll start a set of tongs, scroll tongs, like you guys were asking for. And then that will give me, you know, some nice good footage that I can edit for a YouTube video. Hopefully it's more of a tutorial. The first time I did a set of tongs, I didn't have my microphone set up real well. So my sound was very variable. So I didn't get a lot of good footage for a tutorial there. So yeah, if I do another set, you know, I can redeem myself and have good footage to edit together. All right, well, which would be more crazy by hand? I would think folding over a bar of stock would be more manageable. Yeah, it's definitely more manageable to do a folded axe than it would be to do a drifted axe. But if I did do the drifted axe, we could set up the press to do most of the drifting for us. I have to, or if I were to, so the press table here, it is, I can actually, you know, kind of lower it. I've got these nice pegs down here, and that's what these like extra holes are for. So if I pull the pegs out, then I can lower the bed, and I can use the press to drift out the hole if I need to. So it's possible to do it either way. It is still going to be easier to do a looped axe, but it's kind of like, you know, what do we want to do? Oh yeah, fair point. Yep. So I haven't done a lot of press work on the stream since I did the tongs. So I'm probably going to do a little bit more press work next week when we do the scroll tongs, because the scroll tong, or I mean the press, allows me to reduce the material a little bit quicker. So basically that has like a round die, and it kind of like bites down and squishes the material with 20 tons of pressure, which is much greater than I can get with just my 2 or 3 pound hammers. So I can actually start drawing things out a little bit faster. I do end up losing a lot more heat a lot faster, but I can still move more metal per heat with the press. So we'll probably pull the press out on Monday. So yeah. Righty. The end of the bar it's a little on the warm side. It's kind of like when you're taking a shower and you're, you know, like when you've only got the hot water going, and it's kind of like it gets uncomfortable because you've only got the hot water going. That's kind of what the end of the bar feels like right now. It's hot, it's uncomfortable, but it's not burning hot. So what I'm doing right now is I'm kind of like separating out the corkscrew so that we can kind of like fix it in so that it'll smoothly twist in there. I need to first off, I need to pull it apart, and then I need to start finessing that so that it'll go in there smoothly like a screw. So more heat, more time. It's going a little bit slower than I thought it would. The twisting itself went really fast, but because when I twisted it, it twisted more like a chainmail than it did a screw. I have to pull it apart, and I can only pull so far so fast. So that's starting to take a little bit more time than I was anticipating. So I apologize for that. On Friday, we will make an end, or like a a handle for this corkscrew. And yeah, we will, I think I'm going to do a mortar and tenon. Because I think the fold, I think, would be really pretty, but I will decide between the fold and the mortar and tenon. And yeah, we'll come up with that for Friday. There's a little bit of extra work that goes into the mortar and tenon, so we might end up doing the fold. I can never decide, man. I can never decide what I'm asking after. All right. So we've got it all nice and pulled apart. So now I think we need to start finessing that. Yeah, so I think for our next heat, we're gonna finesse this area. We're gonna close that in, pull that out so that it's a 90 degrees and it'll tap into the cork real nice. And then we're gonna like kind of make the loops a little bit more even so that it smoothly goes down the hole that we're making with the cork, or in the cork. Getting close to done for the day, I think. After we finessed that corkscrew, I think I'm gonna end the stream at that point. We've reached our 2-hour mark. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with you guys. I am starting to get a little bit tired, so I think I need to go in the house and rest a little bit. But yeah, thank you all for coming. Yankee, thank you for the raid. Thank you all for your follows and for, sticking around to watch. It's been so much fun. We will definitely do the handle on Friday. Yep. So, if any of you guys have an idea for who to raid off to, I always take ideas. A lot of times I will come up with people to raid and like I think they're doing something and they're not. So if you guys have any suggestions, anybody that you want to raid, let me know. We can raid them. I know Johnson streams a lot, so I'm not sure if he's on right now though. Oh, Johnson is on again. Okay, we can raid Johnson in a few. I still want to do a couple more heats, so like I think maybe 2 heats, and then I'll raid off. So that'll take me maybe 10 minutes. So yeah. We'll finish this up, and then I'll send you to Johnson. And then Friday, we will also do a 2-camera setup. I got new Wi-Fi, but it's acting kind of funny. when I change between two cameras. So I have left us in the wide shot so I can see you guys when I talk to you. All right, so we've got a relatively even depth there on that that spiral. Like I said, we are still gonna work on this tip. It's still not quite the way I want it to, but the rest of it is pretty even. I'm pretty happy with that. So come Friday, we're gonna bend this out so that we've got a little bit of an area that we can create the handle on. So yeah, we're gonna fix up the this end curl. So we'll turn that to 90 degrees, so it's kind of pointy. All right. Looking good. Art and Jest. I am not sure. Oh, Art and Jest is another artist? Are they another person that we could raid? Did anyone mention the mic sound is only on the left channel? That's weird. I am not sure. The mic sound is only on the left channel. I'll have to ask my partner about that. I am not well versed in how the mic situation is. Maybe I have it on mono somehow. I'm not sure. So I might have accidentally turned it on to mono or something like that. It would be nice if I had stereo sound. Yep. All right. I didn't notice I listen on mono, but yes, it's left only. Okay. I wonder if that... That's kind of strange. Is it normally like that? Have you guys noticed in previous streams if it's only on the left side? Because I don't think that I did anything different today. I don't remember. Okay. I will ask about it to see if my partner has any insight into what might be happening. I might have accidentally bumped something in the sound settings on either the stream or the mics that I use. I hide a microphone in my clothes, so I don't know. Sometimes it kind of twists a little bit weirdly in the or in my clothes, and it kind of gets all funky. But yeah, I'll ask to see if my partner has any insight, and then I will try to do better for Friday's stream. So yeah, please excuse my scuff. Thank you so much, Ed Gear TV, for the follow. I'm gonna do one more heat, and then I'm gonna raid off. We'll probably raid Johnson, if that's all right with you guys. Johnson is a knife maker. He's really incredible. All right. All right, pretty happy with that. That's looking pretty nice. All right, so here we go. We've got a nice point where we can stab into our cork, and then on Friday we will work on a handle so that we can use the handle to twist the whole thing in our cork for opening our wine bottle. All right. thank you all for joining us and joining me for the stream. I hope you guys had all the fun. And because I had a lot of fun. So, yes, I will see you all on Friday. Thank you so much for joining me. All right, have a great day, guys. Happy New Year. Thank you.